So while having all that fun in Europe, what have FC Vaduz been up to in their first season back in the Swiss Super League? Well, the board wanted us to make the playoffs. The relegation playoffs, that is, which essentially meant they wanted us to finish 11th out of 12, which also happened to be exactly what the media prediction was. Quick note on the league structure here as it changes at the start of the 23-24 season. All 12 teams play each other twice, so 22 matches only, with the league then splitting off into championship and relegation groups in February. We went into our opening games not really knowing what to expect, and our match with last season's Challenge League winners Thun would be a good indication of whether all those signings I showed you in the previous episode had made a difference or not. And well, couldn't complain about the outcome of that one. So in the midst of all those Europa Conference League qualifiers, we picked up a couple of tough away draws at St. Gallen and Zurich, and a massive win over Grasshopper Zurich, meaning we were undefeated in our opening 4 games. It wasn't until match day 6 that we finally lost a game away to Young Boys, but landmark wins over Lausanne, another team that bested us last season, and Basel meant we were confounding expectations as we sat a dizzying second in the league. A great start then, but surely, especially with all that Europa Conference League action going on, the bubble would burst at some point. That seemed to be the case in October as we lost both of our league outings, though they were tough away games to leaders Lugano and 6th place Luzern. November though would be an unbeaten month, a draw with 2nd place Sion, and a win over St. Gallen the highlights. December, however, looked tough as we would have 5 league games and a crunch Europa Conference League tie to navigate. But we came through it well, a 2nd win of the season over Grasshoppers, and a 5-1 mauling of Servette. We would only manage 2 points in our final 3 games going into the break, but with us sitting so high up the league, that was no cause for concern at all. We did not see the need, nor have the funds to bring in anybody new in January, though we did activate the option to buy our loanee Brazilian Cristiano, so he will join us full-time at the end of the season. We returned to action in January with one of our tougher games of the season away to Basel, and we found ourselves 2 goals down, but then launched an extraordinary comeback. Tunahan Cicek, the man of the moment, with 2 goals in 2 minutes to earn us a 2-2 draw. So with 4 games to go before the split, we unexpectedly found ourselves in contention for that championship group place. And we had that Conference League knockout tie with Utrecht as well. And believe me, those next few games would contain a season's worth of drama. We played well, but ultimately missed out at home to leaders Lugano. Then Servette got a measure of revenge over us as they beat us 2-0. That meant either side of the winter break we had gone now 6 games without a win, and suddenly that top 6 spot seemed less likely. We had to take that poor form into our Conference League game away to Utrecht, and early on the signs were not good as Pezzini literally flapped at this corner, and we were a goal down. Cristiano, though, soon had us on level terms. Fantastic finish. An error again, this time from defender Majli, left us 2-1 down at half-time, and we were then caught out again at a corner for 3-1. We did not give up though, and with 15 minutes to go, Youth Academy prospect Lorenzo Kraus took the ball away, meaning there was everything to play for in the second leg. In between European games, we earned a point at Sion and were perhaps unlucky not to win. So now, 2 massive games that could define the rest of our season. A chance for European glory at home to Utrecht, and a Super League match with 7th place Luzern, that final spot in the championship group at stake. First Utrecht, not the best of starts, yep, a corner again, but Tunahan Cicek, Swiss Super League top scorer, showed he could do it in Europe as well. He struck again early in the second with a goal that levelled the aggregate scores. Joy turned to jubilation just before the hour mark as Cicek scored again, but was ruled out offside. Not to worry though, as Fair seized on some defensive dawdling on 83 minutes to set up Suter for a tap-in. So that gave us the lead on aggregate, but there was to be one final twist, as Utrecht threw everything forward and got a goal in stoppage time from Dost. So an unbelievable 5-5 on aggregate. Now Utrecht would go cautious and defensive, but we would not, as we poured forward, left back Martinez providing the cross for Fair to put us back in front. Then in the second period of extra time, Fair would win a penalty, meaning Cicek finally got to complete his hat-trick. And that would not be the end of the scoring, as Gasser bombed down the flank and crossed for Fair to head home. I bet Utrecht regret forcing extra time now. So on to our last league game before the split, a tense match finally opening up as Samuel was fouled midway through the second half, allowing Tunahan Cicek to continue his purple patch. Luzern, though, needed a win to get into that championship group, and they threw everything at us, Campo equalising with 5 minutes left, and our exploits in Europe 3 nights before caught up with us as we lost it late on. That 2-1 defeat, extending our miserable winless run in the league to 8 matches. And that meant, of course, Luzern leapfrogged us to get into the championship group. And so we, well... Wait a minute, there's one more match we need to check on first. This one, FC Zurich, and that 1-1 draw cost them dear. That meant we finished level on points with Zurich with the same goal difference but having scored more goals. So somehow, despite having the worst form of any team in the league, we made the cut for the championship group while Zurich would have to battle the drop. So we're now in that championship group, 10 more matches against the best in Switzerland to battle it out for the title. 12 points is a lot of ground to make up, but at least we're guaranteed to not get relegated. And the European dream continues. Up next, Fenerbahce.